Hello, welcome, and namaste. There's one particular thing that I want to speak today. Well, it may kind of touch upon career. Well, if you're starting a new career, you see there might be a lot of anticipations. And even if you are already in a career, there are also so many anticipations, so many things you have to do. And I have worked in the United States in various industries for over 15 years, almost 20 years. And I don't mean to put anybody down, but I've been to companies where professionals are working. Well, they work hard, but I don't want to give a specific amount of percentage. Maybe I just say majority of percentage of time, you see, you are working on something that is useless. I even know this from first-hand experience, and I even heard from employees. I don't want to give out names, what company, what all that, but they have even said like so and so is working hard and he is a hard worker, but we know he is doing something that is useless because he's doing everything manually, and we have a software application that does that within a few seconds, few minutes. So he's wasting 8 hours of his time, and this software application can do the same thing within few minutes. And still that person is doing the old way and thinking he is working hard. But they're just playing him, because sometimes they may need some manual work because there's some kink in the software applications, so they may have to have him do something in the emergency, but daily he's doing something like that, thinking that his daily work is producing something, committing something, or contributing something. But that's not the case. And even there's a software applications that is available, still people like do useless work because maybe it is required, so whatever the reason. Anyway, so you see, what Moksha Mukti is trying to point out is that it is important to put things in a perspective, to look at things perspective. To look at things, put things into perspective. And sometimes, yes, you need to dive into details, go into details, but again, if you put things into perspective, if you sit back and observe what you're doing, You see, if you just take time to sit back and observe what you're doing, that itself reveal you, wait a minute, I'm doing something useless. Or maybe you have a psychology that if I don't do what my boss asked me to do, or if I don't do what I am supposed to do on a daily basis, and if I don't work for 6 hours, 8 hours a day, I may get fired. That's the psychology. But what Moksha Mukti is pointing is you can put things in perspective, and you can observe. And when you need to focus and do your work. But what he's saying is observe what you're doing, and that's really important. You see, and this is what Moksha Mukti says is to come to quantum level is bring your attention to that observing, and in there the quantum level is revealed to you, and in there are infinity possibilities. There are possibility of miracles being created. So it's possibility to create miracle in the quantum level. There's a possibility you can do a lot of creativity, you can do a lot of creation, you can do a lot of things, you can do infinity amount of things in the quantum level. You see, but if you just focus on your thought and let the thought do the work, then what happens? You're going around in the circle, going. Yeah, it may seems like you're doing something, but what is happening is thought is doing that. And you see, that's an illusion. You see, even the company, well-managed, well-organized company, so they have a way of doing things, and they have managed well, and they have done well in the past. What happens? Something shifts in the environment. Something changes in the environment, either through technology or through political reason or through any external source that shifts the way of doing business. For example, in 2007, 2008, the financial market collapsed in the US. And at that time, people realized there is a shift, there is a change going on. Even old companies go bankrupt. For example, Pan Am was one of the great companies. Is American Airlines, and not American Airlines what they have, but the Pan Am was owned by Americans, and it was such a great company throughout the world. But their way of managing the business was outdated, and the way they were managing the business was outdated because, you see, in the universe or in the planet, there are shifts, there are changing places. Every 10 years, 20 years, 5 years, even 100 years, there's a cycle, and this cycle is going on. And this cycle is changing. And if you step back and put things in a perspective, that observation, that what Moksha Mukti called quantum level, itself guide you and see the changes that is happening in the environment. And when you put your attention into that quantum level, there is nothing to be afraid, because you just dance with the changes. You see, For example, if you're dancing with a partner, and you do this kind of move, then you do this kind of move, and you try to mirror what your partner is doing. You lead sometimes, and you follow sometimes. You lead and you follow. You lead and follow. See, all this dance is happening. So when you come to that quantum level, you are dancing with the changes, whatever changes that is happening in the environment. You go with the flow. You see, and that happens. And companies do that. They lose a lot of money, and hey, wait a minute. This is not the way to do things. Either they go bankrupt, they lose money, and they, shift their, what they call is a paradigm, right? Similarly, the paradigm is changing in the environment. You see, even the season changes right now. Fall season is a pleasant. Like a couple months ago, I wouldn't be able to come outside in the park here. By the way, I'm speaking from Central Park, Frisco. Central Park, Frisco is on Parkwood and Sea Boulevard. And in front of it is a Hampton Inn, and on the right side there is a loft apartment. So, Moksha Mukti is doing gathering on November 1st at 10 a.m. Central US time. So when he's doing gathering, and he's inviting folks, and if you see his invitation, that's where the Central Park is, and this is exact place where he is giving talks on November 1st. So right now weather is pleasant, and this suit right here, I was attending another meeting, and I just came back from the meeting. I had some free time. This is my lunch time, and because I have some free time and I don't eat much during the lunch, so I am devoting my at least half an hour to give this talk. You see, the quantum level can be applied to anything. It can be applied to your career. It can apply to your family life. It can apply to your social life. It can apply to your personal life. It can apply to anything and everything, because it has infinity possibility. It has ability to create miracle. It has ability to bring you home, because that is your home. Quantum level is your home. And today is such a beautiful day. See, not a single cloud on the sky. Just a, open sky. It's just beautiful. You see, and maybe like after this talk is over, I'll point out. I'll move the camera to let you see how beautiful today is. You see, what else shall I talk about? So I have been asking around people to ask, like, what would you like Moksha Mukti to talk about, right? So he's been talking about different subjects, different discipline, different aspect of life, but specifically, what would you want him to talk about? Well, there are some things people responded before last gathering, but right now people have not responded. But I go here and there, and when we talk, people ask me to talk like that. And when I give talk, people say, well, I just don't understand. And last few days ago, I gave talks about you have option to ask questions. So when you don't understand, you ask question. Simply as that. You see, and see if we can come to the quantum level. And he is not prescribing this is the way to be, but this is the natural way. I'm not saying this is the way to be. I'm not saying follow me, but this is a natural way. You see, and when this expresses as a natural way, certainly, you see, those of you who are watching, listening, are drawn to it, are intrigued by it, are compelled by it, just like the nature, like today's day. If you see this, you certainly want to be here. If you hear the expression of this nature, if you feel the expression of nature, if you see this, if you recognize this, you certainly want to be here. You see, outside. And that's the exact thing Moksha Mukti is doing, is expressing his expression. This is the expression of the existence that he is expressing. And it's like a song, a bird singing, or an artist painting. I'm just performing this expression, natural expression, expressing, reveal or the scene as a performance. And whether you accept it, whether you reject it, whether you, make comments, whether you appreciate or depreciate, whatever is fine with Moksha Mukti, but this is what is happening. And you can hear some of the birds singing over there, and there's a little water fountain going in the background. And behind me there's like a sculpture, cows sculpture, because longhorn cows, because back in the days in this area there probably used to be a lot of farmers who farm these cows, this city of Frisco has been growing rapidly now, but back then it was like that. So to remember this painter or the artist who painted this, and I'll let you see that in just a minute. So okay, so this is all Moksha Mukti is going to talk about today. So he is looking forward to meeting you, seeing you, talking with you on November 1st at 10 a.m. Central Time in Central Park, Frisco. See you. There's a stairs on the right, and this is how we get to the Moksha Mukti gathering on November 1st. Hello.
Bye-bye.